Hey first graders, we are going to continue working on our Mary Blair castle designs today. So if you remember from last week, we learned about this artist, Mary Blair. Some of the classes read this book, Mary Blair's Unique Flair, that gave the story of her life and work and inspiration. I'm just going to open it up to this first couple pages. Wow, look how beautiful those shapes and colors are. That's one of the things that Mary Blair was probably most known for, was her unique combinations of shapes and designs. I love how she layers all these different colors and shapes together. So based off of Mary's designs that we looked at in her book and in the video we watched, you each created your own castle design inspired by the style of Mary Blair's artwork, specifically the work that she did on her It's the Small World After All, which you can kind of see some inspiration of that right in here. So let's take a look at my example. So this is my example that I showed you last week, and if you still need some time to finish drawing or coloring in your castle design today, you can absolutely finish doing that, but you don't necessarily need to finish your design in order to move on to creating your actual castle with the paper. But if you'd like to, the markers are available for you to do that. So here's my drawn example. And then here is my paper example that I've started, so you can kind of see a comparison between my drawing and my paper version. One thing that I noticed when I looked at Mary Blair's designs was she used a lot of symmetry in her designs. So you can see in my drawing here, I tried to have this center be kind of the focal point, and you'll notice everything on this side is symmetrical, the same as everything on this side. Now, if your castle is not like that, that is a-okay. These are all going to be unique and amazing, but that's just something that I chose to use in my design. So if we look at the paper one, all of you are going to start with a large piece of black paper as kind of your background. You can use any of the colors you used in your design. I will have baskets of different color groups, so all the different blues will be together, all the different oranges and yellows, the greens, the pinks, the reds, the purples. Those will all be in different baskets for you to pick from. You will notice when you come up to get your paper that all the colors are in strips, these long strips like this. This is simply to just kind of help you create these columns that are very castle-like. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to be working on this part of my design right here because I need to finish up my design and do those steps. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So in my drawing, I have green and orange for these kind of triangle shapes. So I'm going to grab orange and green, and I think I can fit my two triangle shapes right in here. I'm going to use the width of this strip of paper as my guide. I also know that I don't need this whole strip of paper, so I want my triangles to maybe be about this tall. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut my strip the length that I need it. And since I'm going to do one on here and here, I'm just going to measure out and go ahead and cut another one the same size to help with that symmetry. Okay, so if I put this here, I know that that's kind of the size that I want. Using my drawing as a guide, I'm gonna cheat a little bit here, and you are welcome to do the same thing. Rather than cutting out two green triangles exactly the same size or two orange triangles exactly the same size, I'm going to have green be my bottom color, and then I'm going to use my orange and just cut out 2 orange triangles and just glue them right on top of the green, and nobody will even know that they're layered on top. That's actually what I did down here. I don't know if you can see this part. It's kind of hard to see. There we go. These triangles right here, it's actually a yellow underneath and then blue triangles on top. That kind of helps save some cutting for you. All right, so I would glue these down just so they have them in place. I'm not gonna glue mine right now, but you can. And then for my triangles, since this paper is the same length, I am just gonna go ahead and maybe I'll just use this one again as my guide because I want it the same size. Right there. And just in case, I'll do another one as backup. There we go. Now, cutting things out can be tricky sometimes, especially if you do want them to be symmetrical. If you would prefer using a pencil and drawing in your shapes first, totally fine. You can absolutely do that. I'm going to, well, here. If I were to draw in my triangle shape, probably want to find the middle point down here, and then I'm just going to lightly draw in. I'm not sure if you can see those pencil lines, but I'm going to lightly draw in a guide, and then I could just cut. If you do choose to draw on your paper and then cut out your shapes, that is fine with me. I would just recommend, though, that when you go to glue down your shape, rather than having this shape, you probably can't even see it, but I can see I have pencil marks here. I probably don't want to have my pencil marks go here. I would put glue on this side and flip it over so that the pencil marks are on the back. All right, so let's just see how this will work. So I would just glue this right there. Look at that. Then that keeps me from having to cut out all those different triangles. And here's another little trick, save you some time. Since I already know that this triangle shape is gonna work really well, I'm gonna put it right on top of my other orange piece of paper. And again, I can either use my pencil and trace, or I'm just gonna hold my triangle right there and carefully hold both papers at the same time. And I'll just cut this second one. There. Now, extra papers that you might have like this, you might want to hang on to your scraps, because you might find that you can use your little scraps for small details in your design. Like I could use these same scraps to add little details like this, or even these little almond shapes or these curved shapes here. So maybe hang on to your scraps until it's time to clean up. And then if you don't end up using them, that's fine, but at least we're not going to be wasting paper. All right, so I'm gluing this here. My triangles, I've got one. I would glue this. I'm not gonna glue mine right now, just for the sake of showing you what to do. You guys know how to glue. Those go like that, okay? So if we look at my drawing again, it's maybe not an exact match because these lines kind of come in a little bit more, but I'm okay with fudging it a little bit. That's the nice thing. Having your drawing is a really nice guideline for you, but if you decide you need to change some of your ideas partway through, go for it. You have the freedom to change your mind and to change your ideas. It does not have to look exactly like your drawing, okay? Now, for shapes like this, that are kind of like dome shapes or onion shapes, which I know Mary Blair also liked to use in her designs, I'm gonna show you a little trick for how to get, again, a symmetrical shape from one side to the next. So first I've got my strip of pink. And let's see, I'm gonna kind of eyeball how tall I want it to be. Maybe about that tall. So once again, I'm just gonna cut my paper. And since I'm making two, I'll just use my other paper as a guideline. Getting all turned around. This is why it's helpful to glue it, right? Oh well. Okay, so I've got my two shapes. This is about how tall they're gonna be. Now, to get a shape like this that's symmetrical on both sides, what you can actually do is take this piece of paper and fold it in half, like this. And then with my pencil, I am just gonna draw half of this. So this is a similar shape. I'm just gonna draw half of that shape. And like this, kind of curves out like that. That's about what half of that onion shape looks like. And then while it is still folded in half, I'm going to cut it. Now I want you to notice when I did that, notice that my the folded side of the paper is where I started the drawing. I did not start it on the open side because I'm going to be cutting this line here so that when I unfold it, I'll have one whole shape. If I were to have drawn it on this side where it's open and I go to cut it, I would have two halves of the same shape, which you could still work and flip it over and glue them side by side. But just if you want to draw in a shape and have it be symmetrical on both sides, make sure you are this folded edge here is not the side that you're cutting into. So I'm gonna cut here. If it's not exactly right, that is okay. And then when I open this, I have a nice symmetrical shape. Okay, and then that could go right on top there. Now again, I can use this kind of as my template. Put it right on top of my other pink shape, trace it or cut around it, and then I have two that are the exact same size. So I would put that there. It's a funny looking shape, isn't it? So now I'm gonna do the same thing here to do the tippy top right up here. Get these little bubble shapes. I've already folded my paper. And I'm not gonna draw this one out. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it with my scissors. I'm gonna curve. Ooh, this is tricky, cutting small things. Now I wanna be careful that I don't cut all the way to my folded line because then I would just be cutting out a shape like this, which again, if you do, not a big deal because I can just glue them, stack them up on top of each other. So if you do end up making that change, that is okay. What do I always say? Mistakes are okay. They just help you learn. Tiny little shape. Okay. Look at that. That's so tiny. But then when I open it up, it kind of looks like the shape that I drew. And so I could glue that right up there. Okay? So have fun with your different shapes. Have fun playing around with layering colors on top of each other, trying out different unique color combinations that might not be totally normal. That's okay. That's one of the things Mary Blair was known for, was using unique color combinations, which is what makes her artwork so fun and enjoyable. So here we go again. Here's her book. Have fun today. Get as far as you can. You do not need to finish this today. We're going to keep working on this over the next couple class periods. Any scraps of paper that you have at the end of class that you don't end up using, please don't put these back in the baskets because the baskets are not meant as a recycling bin or a garbage. If you have big pieces like this that have not been cut, these can go back in the baskets. Little scraps like this, just go ahead and recycle those when it's time to clean up. And make sure you have your name and class on the back of your black paper here because I will not know which one is yours when I go to collect them next time. So your name and class should go on the back of this paper, and just stick those up on the drying rack, and we will keep working on this next week. Have fun.